There are places in Cambodia where the jungle isn't just alive, it's haunted. The trees, the earth, and even the air, feels like it's watching you. With every step, the weight of the jungle grows heavier, like something is just beyond your sight, following you through the bushes, and it waits patiently, for the right moment to strike. The deeper you go, the more you can feel it, something lurking, unseen, and just out of reach. These are the jungle ghosts. Silent and deadly. They haunt the deepest parts of the forest, waiting for the moment when the living wander too far. Some say they appear as twisted shadows, while others claim they are the creatures of the jungle itself. These are not just ghosts. They control the very earth and trees, luring travelers off their path, and leading them deeper into the wilderness, where the jungle seems to twist and bend reality. Their origins trace back to Cambodia's darkest moments, from ancient wars to the brutal Khmer Rouge era. Many believe those who died in the jungle became part of the land. Their souls forever adrift in the jungle, lost and waiting to be discovered. Welcome to the Glimpse. As you step out of the jungle's shadow, Cambodia reveals itself, a country where mysteries linger in the air, and where the past is intertwined with the present. It's a place where the ancient and modern collide, where the red mist that rolls across the landscape isn't just fog, but believed to be a manifestation of the spirits of the land, rising from the earth, as if the very soil is alive with memories of those who came before. Amidst the hustle of cities and the tuk-tuks that rush through the streets, the mystical side of Cambodia still thrives. In every corner, and in every ritual, the spirit world is just a breath away. Sak Yant tattoos, sacred symbols inked into the skin, are believed to protect the wearer from harm by channeling the powers of spirits. The ink isn't just art, it's a bond with the unseen forces that watch over the land. But beneath this rich tapestry of traditions, lies a dark chapter of Cambodia's history, one so dark that it tried to erase the past entirely. A chapter that began in 1975, when the country was forced into what is known as Year Zero, which I will explain to you later. In a land where the history's shadows still stretch long, the red mist, the sacred tattoos, and the stories passed down through generations aren't just part of the landscape, they are living reminders that in Cambodia, the spirits of the past are never far behind. Among the spirits that roam Cambodia's wilds, there are some whose presence is felt as powerfully as the land itself. In a country where elephants symbolize strength, wisdom, and a sacred connection to nature, it's no surprise that the jungle holds ghosts in their shape. For centuries, elephants have been revered in Cambodia, protectors, symbols of power, and mighty forces in battle. The war elephants of the Angkor Empire once trampled across these lands, carrying kings and warriors into battle, with their footsteps shaking the ground. But what happens when these majestic creatures' spirits refuse to rest? Deep in the forest, their ghostly forms wander. It is said that the sound of their trumpets can sometimes be heard through the trees, a haunting reminder that some spirits never leave. These are the Damrei Kmoch, the ghost elephants of Cambodia. These are the souls of elephants that died violently, whether in ancient wars or during the bloodshed of the Khmer Rouge era. Bound to the jungle, they roam as guardians or avengers, luring travelers deeper into the wild. The heavy sound of their footsteps grows closer, but when you turn, there's nothing there. Some say the Damrei Kmoch are protectors of the land. Others believe they are vengeful, restless, and filled with rage. The earth still trembles beneath their unseen weight, a chilling reminder that in Cambodia's jungles, the past is never truly gone. In Cambodia's haunted jungles, elephants are not the only spirits that stir. Beneath the trees, in the rivers, and hidden among the shadows, older forces wait, more ancient, and more primal. Among them are the crocodile and serpent ghosts, creatures of water and earth, tied to legends that stretch back beyond written history. In Cambodian lore, crocodiles are more than just beasts. They are shapeshifters, guardians, and sometimes, cursed souls doomed to roam the waterways forever. Some stories speak of warriors who, through dark rituals, transformed into crocodiles to gain strength, only to be trapped between worlds when they died. Serpents, too, are sacred and feared. The Naga, great serpent spirits, are said to dwell in the rivers and lakes, guarding treasures, sacred sites, and ancient secrets. But when angered, their spirits can bring floods, storms, and madness. To this day, there are those who believe that certain rivers, ponds, and stretches of jungle are cursed, places where crocodile and serpent ghosts still lurk, waiting to drag the unwary into the depths. Beyond the tangled roots and shadowed rivers of Cambodia, another kind of spirit lingers, not in the forests, but in stone. Across the country, ancient statues stand guard over forgotten temples and sacred grounds. Time has worn their faces, moss covers their bodies, but something deeper clings to them. There are stories of statues that shift when no one is watching, whose eyes seem to move, and whose silent mouths almost seem to whisper. Some say the stone is alive. That within these crumbling forms, ghosts are trapped, neither fully dead nor fully living. Travelers have sworn they've seen them change positions overnight, or found new footprints in the dust where no human could have walked. In fact, some researchers have documented these strange occurrences in the temples of Angkor, where, on rare occasions, statues are said to be found in different positions than they were the day before. Some researchers say that the strange movements of these statues can be explained by natural erosion or the play of light and shadow. Yet, despite these explanations, travelers still report seeing the statues shift or feeling their presence draw near. In the end, it's not just the myths of Cambodia that endure, it's the question, what if these statues aren't just lifeless stone after all? Time has worn down the temples, and vines have swallowed their walls, but not all who dwelled here moved on. They say that the monks who once filled these halls with prayer are still here, their spirits trapped between worlds, watching from the shadows of the crumbling stone. Across Cambodia, especially around the ruins of Angkor and remote mountain monasteries, there are countless reports of strange encounters. Locals and travelers have spoken of glimpsing figures in saffron robes, moving silently through the temples. These are monks. Monks that vanish when approached, or that are seen praying among the rubble at dusk. One well-known story comes from the ruins of Ta Prohm Temple, where a group of tourists swore they heard the sound of chanting, deep inside the overgrown corridors. Of course, this sparked their interest. And they decided to follow the voices, but what they found wasn't what they expected. They found an empty shrine, with its stone floor covered in fresh offerings of lotus flowers and incense. The weird thing was, that they knew that no person had entered or left that part of the ruins all day. Some believe these monks, just like the elephant ghosts, are guardians. Others speculate that during times of war and invasion, monks who tried to defend their sacred grounds were slaughtered, and it is their restless souls who still walk the temple halls. Whatever the truth may be, in the silent ruins of Cambodia's ancient temples, it is said and even felt, that you are never truly alone. As we unravel Cambodia's haunted past, our path leads us even higher, to a place where the living have long been gone, and only the mist remains. High in Cambodia's Kampot province, where the jungle meets the clouds, lies Bokor Hill Station, a forgotten French resort, that turned into a ghost town. This is said to be one of Cambodia's most haunted places. Built in the 1920s, it was once a retreat for the French elite, that offered amazing views and fresh mountain air. But over the years, it became quiet, and by the 1940s, it was fully abandoned, overtaken by both time and the jungle. Despite its abandonment, the hill station still holds an eerie presence. Visitors often report strange sights and sounds. The most famous story is about a ghost, named the Lady in White, a French woman who died in a tragic fall. Locals say her spirit still wanders the mist-covered paths. In the resort lays the Bokor Palace Hotel, and this place is particularly haunting. Once a grand establishment, it now stands in ruins. Guests who stay here sometimes hear piano music playing in the empty ballroom, and shadows are said to have their own life. The cold, still air, and feeling the presence of something unseen, makes it easy to believe that the spirits of those who lived and died here, never truly left. Mass graves were found nearby the station, and many believe the souls of those who suffered and perished here still haunt the mountain. There is one event that truly shaped Cambodia's spirit world, an event so dark it tried to erase history itself. In 1975, Cambodia fell under the control of the Khmer Rouge, a brutal communist regime led by Pol Pot. During the next almost 4 years, places like the Bokor Hill Station were used by the Khmer Rouge, because they were perfect for guerrilla fighters. Their vision was to transform the country into a rural, classless society, but at a horrific cost. In less than 4 years, nearly 2 million people, a quarter of Cambodia's population, died from execution, starvation, disease, and forced labor. At this time, Cambodia became a graveyard. At other sites in the country, like for instance Choang Ek, near Phnom Penh, over 1 million people were executed and buried in mass graves, victims of a regime that sought to erase the past by destroying its own people. They wanted to wipe out everything that had come before: culture, education, religion, and even basic memories of the old society. They believed that by eliminating anyone connected to the old ways, the educated, the religious, and the urban, they could rebuild Cambodia from year zero, as if history itself had never existed. After the fall of the Khmer Rouge in 1979, Cambodia was left in ruins. The country was shattered, its people broken, and its history nearly erased. The Cambodian government, with the support of international organizations, faced the enormous challenge of rebuilding a nation that had been reduced to a graveyard. The first steps toward recovery were focused on rebuilding basic infrastructure and addressing the immediate needs of the population. However, the scars left by the regime were not just physical. Survivors had to contend with the psychological trauma of losing family members, witnessing atrocities, and living in fear for years. Memorials, like the killing fields, were set up as reminders of the horrors endured, not just as a tribute to the dead, but as a way for the living to process and understand the dark chapter in their history. Today, the killing fields are silent, but the earth itself still seems to hum with grief. A lot of bone fragments and bits of clothing surface from the soil, mostly after heavy rains. A lot of visitors report feeling an unbearable heaviness descend on them, some even speak of soft crying sounds, or some report the feeling of cold hands touching them. A lot of people get overwhelmed with a crushing sadness that lingers for hours after leaving, as if something unseen has followed them home. At Choang Ek stands a stupa. Normally, a stupa is a domed hemispherical structure containing several types of sacred relics. Over here it is filled with thousands of skulls. It is a silent testament to those lost. It is said that at night, the stupa glows faintly, lit not by candles, but by something older and more sorrowful, the restless spirits of a generation that never got to tell its story. Here, the ghosts are not myths, nor are they legends. They are memories, etched into the very bones of the land, impossible to ignore, and impossible to forget. The jungle claimed the temples. The mountains kept their dead. Now, the rivers carry what remains. On the rivers in Cambodia, silent boats drift between worlds, their hulls bearing the whispers of lost souls. These ghost boats are not just folklore. For centuries, they have been part of the living history of Cambodia's waterways, and they are often seen on the waters of Tunnel Sap Lake or the Mekong River, particularly in the early morning mist. Many who've seen the boats claim to hear the creaks of wood, and splashes of unseen oars cutting through the water. But when they draw closer, the boats vanish, leaving nothing behind but the eerie calm of the river. There are theories that the ghost boats could be related to the idea of spirit vessels, commonly seen in Southeast Asian cultures. The belief is that these boats, once used to carry the dead, could also be used to transport their spirits, forever drifting through the country's rivers in search of peace. However, not all explanations are rooted in the supernatural. Some researchers suggest the phenomenon may be caused by optical illusions, where mist, water currents, and the dense fog of the region create the illusion of boats that seem to glide mysteriously across the river. Despite these explanations, many locals still view the ghost boats as more than just natural occurrences. In a land with a history so deeply intertwined with tragedy and loss, the river is seen as a place where the past refuses to fade. Whether a result of environmental factors or something deeper, the boats still are a symbol of the spirits that linger in Cambodia and its waters. The belief in spirits in Cambodia is deeply woven into the fabric of daily life. Rituals to honor the dead, offerings at roadside shrines, and the protection of homes with sacred symbols and charms are all part of this connection. But what keeps these beliefs alive, especially after the trauma of the Khmer Rouge? The mass suffering, loss of loved ones, and the destruction of culture during the regime left deep psychological scars. Survivors often speak of a lingering sense of unfinished business, with both the spirits of the dead and the living haunted by the past. In many ways, belief in spirits becomes a way to cope with the incomprehensible, a means to keep the lost alive, communicate with the departed, and make sense of a broken world. In the modern world, this ancient connection to the spirit world remains as strong as ever. Cambodia is a land where the living and the dead coexist in delicate harmony, and the spirit world is never far behind. From the Khmer Rouge's haunting legacy to the tales of mist-covered forests, the presence of ghosts and the supernatural is felt everywhere. It's a reminder that in Cambodia, the line between the living and the dead is often as thin as a shadow, and the spirits that dwell here are a part of the land's very soul. If you ever find yourself in the mist-covered jungles or standing by the silent, haunting rivers of Cambodia, remember that the past is never far behind. Perhaps, just as the boats drift through the fog, so too do the spirits drift through time, quietly, endlessly, and always waiting for the right moment to make their presence known. If you enjoyed this documentary, please make sure to hit the like button, and it would be great if you subscribe as well. Also, please let me know what country's ghost stories you want me to uncover next. Thanks for watching.